Going to be trimming up the yard again and introducing you to my chainsaw. In one of my last videos where I was trimming up the yard, I was talking about some gloves I had that I can't find that are good for preventing prickers from penetrating your gloves. I still can't find that pair, but I found a different pair. I just realized that these are also pricker proof. It's like a hard, I'm going to say like a leather here. The back is fabric. But as you can see, these nasty pricker vines that I cut down before, and I can grab them. I can grab them with this hand, with this glove on. Look at those prickers, and they don't penetrate this glove. So I have a chainsaw. This is the Black & Decker. It runs on a battery here. Now I always keep 2 batteries charging at the same time in my garage. I do have the bush trimmer as well. So I alternate between using a chainsaw and a bush trimmer at this time of year and in the spring. But this Black & Decker is really handy. It's not too heavy for me. I mean, there is some weight to it, but I can pretty much manage it myself. And I can cut down simple trees. Now anything thicker than this, I would probably say get a gas-powered chainsaw. But this chainsaw does a pretty good job. So, I mean, it's easier on the arms than a hacksaw. So let's go ahead and take a look. I do want to warn you, this is going to get loud, but you can see how I do it. Now first, with this, there's a button here that you pull back. You pull this back and you pull it up. So I'm just focusing on this piece of the tree today because this is a rotten piece. It's got like mold and stuff growing on it, fungus. So this is the only one I'm going to cut down today with this chainsaw. You always want to keep your limbs on your body, you know, your legs, your arms, your toes, your hands, anything like that, free from the blade of the chainsaw. I can't tell you how many people I've known that have actually cut off fingers and cut through their leg, and you don't want to do that. You want to practice safety at all times. You also want to be aware of your surroundings when you're using a chainsaw. You want to make sure that there's nobody, no children, no other person, no animals, nothing that can get hurt when this log drops, because it's going to drop hard. So you want to make sure there's nothing down there that can get hurt by this. So here we go. Now, just like with a gas-powered chainsaw, this has kickback. If you have never used a chainsaw, I highly suggest you have a buddy system in place. I don't want to see anybody get hurt using a chainsaw. Look at the cut that it made. Right through that trunk. Beautiful. This is a really nice starter chainsaw. They're not that expensive. This is bittersweet vine. It's a very invasive species of vine that grows up and chokes out trees. This is just one little sampling that's growing up against a stone wall. What I typically do is first, I try to pull it out. You want to make sure you wear gloves. Now this stuff can be really stubborn. That came out pretty easily, but I didn't get all of it. The roots are good and stuck in there. Let's try this one. There. I have a pair of clippers here, and those usually cut through these bittersweet vines very easily. Now, if you don't get the roots of them, they will come back. Every year, this time, around late August through September, I'm cleaning up this debris on my driveway. These little nuts, I think they're called hickory nuts. And the problem is they get up on the grass. When they fall off trees, they kind of bounce on the road. And this is where I mow. So I end up having to come out here and rake them up before I can mow. You can see the large amount of them as people drive up and down here. They crush them with their tires and they make just a big old mess that I have to come out here and sweep up. What is that? So I came out here today because I thought this was a smooth sumac tree. I had these in my backyard for a while and they make an awful network of roots that grow underground. And as they grow, they, for lack of a better word, they collapse the earth underneath. After you cut down the tree, you're left with a network of big roots that stick up out of your ground. So to avoid that from happening, I thought I would be cutting these down. But then as I came over here, I noticed this. Having never seen that before, I Google lensed it and it came back to a black walnut tree. And I was very pleasantly surprised. So I also Googled, should I cut this? And it said no. As I look underneath the black walnut tree, you can see more bittersweet vine. It's growing up the tree and it's producing berries. It's a very invasive species. As you go up the trunk of the tree, you can see it growing and spiraling around the tree trunk. And that's exactly what you want to avoid having happen. So it's imperative that you cut down bittersweet whenever you see it. So take a look at these beautiful grapes growing. In a couple of my first videos, I showed how the wild grapevines were growing around my yard. Check this out. Isn't that cool how they make all the different colors? Blues, purples. Over here, the berries are just beginning. In another part of my yard, I have these grapes here. Look at them all. There's so many. I've never produced this many grapes in my yard in one season. And I don't even intentionally grow them. Look how far up they go, all the grapevines. Usually I trim back the grapevines, but this year I just let them go. The vines are actually growing right out into the grass. Look at all the different colored berries on them. These are just ready to eat now. Look at that. Look how big those are. I mean, for not intentionally growing grapes, that's pretty good, I think. These large leaves here are part of the hickory nut family. See all these dark, larger green leaves? And those produce those nuts that were all over the driveway. Side by side, you can see the grapes as well as the bittersweet vine again. Now see the berries on the bittersweet vine and see the berries on the grapevine. Whenever you see this type of vine, like I said, it's very invasive. It climbs up trees, it chokes them out. You want to cut that down. A couple of weeks ago, when I first started YouTube videos, I actually made a video on the black-eyed Susans growing in my garden, and they've spread since then. Here's a new pouch of them coming through. Look at the little baby ones. They're so beautiful. My butterfly bush is loaded with cones, and I've been seeing a ton of bees and butterflies. There's a hummingbird bee on one of the petals up here. That's a hummingbird bee. Look how cool that is. I noticed that my butterfly bush is getting woody at the bottom. So I want to take my hedge clippers and just trim off the dead branches. I'm doing this one-handed, but you can see how they come off really easily with just little clippers. But you definitely want to remove those because otherwise your butterfly bush will be a woody mess. You can see on this birch tree here how the limbs grow right down to the base of it. And I'm just going to trim some of those up. You can either use your hedge clippers or a little hacksaw to help with that. I have an old well that my grandfather dug by hand when he had a farm here and a big garden. And I'm just going to sit down and take a break. It's a pretty hot day today. It's not as hot as it was over the course of the summer. That elusive monarch has brought a friend, and yet I can't seem to capture them on camera. When my daughter was about 6 months old, my grandfather was sitting on this same well, and he had a little dog, a little mini poodle it was. And the mini poodle saw some bees going in and out of the base of this well where it's like a cement pad. And the dog snapped at one of the bees. The bees came up out of this hole, and one stung my daughter in the face. I've had other incidents with bees here too. When I had my garden right here, I used to have a vegetable garden out this way. There were some yellow jackets and I didn't realize it. And when I was picking out some weeds, the yellow jackets came up out of the ground and stung me up pretty bad. On this side of the well, I have some grapevine growing on some rose bushes. And I don't want the grapevine growing here, so I am going to trim this back. The vine on the grapevine is not easily pulled out by its root. You have to have some type of clipper to cut it. First, you want to establish where the root is. So see what I mean by it choking out trees and so forth? It's down here. The root is right here. So as you see, it intertwined itself all throughout this rose. See what it does? It spirals its vine around the branches and trunks of bushes and trees and so forth.